Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Vintage Lilac Memories. My name is Kim. Today is a bit of a mishmash video. I'm going to show a few things that I picked up at a thrift store. So following my friend Kim Newberg on Images by Kim, Thrifty Thursday or Thrifting Thursdays. I'll put a link to her channel down below. Anyways, my local Salvation Army a week or so ago had all their books. You could get a grocery-sized bag of books for $5. Well, I only found 3 that I wanted. And I don't know what their original prices were, but I figured it's for charity, so I got these 3 books for $5. And I picked it because it's an older book. This is If Winter Comes by A.S.M. Hutchinson. It says Mrs. W.S. Johnson, Lindsay, Ontario, which I live in Ontario, so that's not too far away from me. And I'm trying to remember if this one had a date or not. Oh, yes. It's got, first edition was printed in August 1921, and it goes all the way down to the 35th edition, printed in July 1922. So this is the 35th edition, July 1922. I've checked on Amazon. It's still being printed as of, I think, 2015. I don't know too much about the story, but the pages are very yellowed. They're very, what's the word? They feel velvety. Ooh, didn't notice that before. But anyways, I liked the pages. I will use them to make embellishments. I liked the book. It's nice, small, smaller than my normal journals, but it's got a tree embossed here. I'll do something with it. So that's that one. This one is a Reader's Digest book. I think it's much smaller than the normal ones. It's not in that great shape. The spine is cracking here and here, and that's fine because I'm going to do something with it, and I usually cover everything up. In this one, I'll probably, oh, look at that. I'll probably just cover up the spine because I like this pattern. I'll leave that there, or let some of it show. And this one I want to say is the 50s, printed in Montreal. Oh, this one's 66. Again, nice yellowed pages. I believe some of there's illustrations in here that I could use on different things. But I picked it mainly because I like the pattern of the book. Again, it is small. Compared to my usual journals, what do we have? This is about 5.5 by 7.5. I usually do a 6x9 size journal, so I would just have to trim pages down, but I'll do that. This is another Reader's Digest. This one comes with a sleeve. Let's see. And again, nice pattern on it. This one is in pretty decent shape. And it even has, okay, maybe I had it the right way, yes. This has this little, I guess, book club newsletter from 1957 that would have come with each of your Reader's Digest books. So that's kind of neat too. And again, I picked this because of the cover style. This one I don't, oh it does. I don't think the pages have yellowed. I think they started out that way, but it's a nice yellowed, not too slick. So I think that'd make really good embellishments. So there's that. So those are the only 3 books I got at the Salvation Army that day. I do have some other things to show you. My father-in-law used to live with us in our basement apartment, and he passed away a couple years ago. And just due to the pandemic and everything happening, and it's kind of not really my domain, so I left that to my husband to deal with. It hasn't been cleared out. We couldn't, a lot of places, thrift stores and whatnot, were not taking donations. So we're still going through that process. And I went today and found a few things down there that I can use for my junk journals. And some of the people I've been watching lately, Kim Newberg is one of them, of Images by Kim, and Catherine Brown of Catherine Brown Art. I've been watching the YouTube channels, and some things that I wouldn't normally have thought of to use in a junk journal are now, I'm considering them. Or, you know, once I've seen people use different things different ways, it's like, oh, I have that and I could use that. And so I went through some things downstairs. If you can hear that noise in the background, that's one of my dogs walking around the hardwood floors here. Anyway, so some of the things, my father-in-law had these, probably somebody gave them to him as a gift. They're little frames. They still have the original photos in them. They're not anything he put in there. And they are plastic. They're very lightweight. They do have like a little stand. But I was thinking I could probably cut off the back pieces and somehow use them on the front of journals. So there's this one with a little cat. Oh, they've all got cats. Look at that. It's a cat theme. So he just had those tucked away in a drawer. Like I said, they were probably given to him by somebody. This is a pillow cover that my mother-in-law had made. He had a lot of stuff. My in-laws were divorced, but he still had a lot of stuff that had belonged to her that he brought with him when he moved from Labrador, Newfoundland, moved it up here with us. So a lot of this stuff was hers. And that's the front side. I'm going to turn it around because I can't get it all in frame here. And the back is these blues. And I was just thinking I can probably take that apart and use it in a journal somehow. Because it doesn't look like it's ever been used. It's just something. My mother-in-law was a seamstress. She used to make wedding dresses, and so I have a lot of lace and things from her. But so that's one of the things, and that's kind of a thrift store find. This I came across too. This is I don't know. So I don't know. This is 50s, 60s. There was a lot of this. I have no idea what they did with it. I'm assuming curtains, something you put in front of a shears or something. I looked at it and I thought maybe I could put it on top of my tea-dyed papers when I'm drying them outside in the summertime. I usually dry them on our glass patio table. And so I thought maybe if I lay this over, this will make some kind of a pattern. So I saved a small piece of that because there was a lot of it in many different colors. I'm not sure why he kept that. But I thought maybe I can do something with that. And if not, I'll toss it later. So I don't think I'd use that on a journal. The colors that he had, they had the blue and he had an orange and maybe a green, but they weren't nice colors. Not any, very, very old-fashioned colors. So I don't think I'd use this on a journal, like even as an overlay or anything. But I'll try the tea-dyed paper. Let's see if that works. In his drawer, I got a bunch of airmail envelopes. Figured I could use those somewhere. And now this I'm not exactly sure. I'm thinking it's a tablecloth. I haven't taken it out of its package yet. Tablecloth, napkins, I'm not sure what. But can you see the embroidery on this? I figured that will look good on a journal cover somewhere. And this may be the only 2 bits of embroidery in the whole thing, and the rest is just, yeah, well, the rest might just be white tablecloth. I think that's what it is. But the fabric, and it's brand new. But the fabric will be used for something. I could tea dye it. I often cover my covers in, like, this is a cotton, linen, something. I often cover the covers of my journals in just a plain fabric and then embellish and put things on it. So definitely these 2 pieces can be cut out and used somehow. So put that back. So that's all I found downstairs. But I'll give you a sneak peek of some of the... Let me finish doing this making noise. I'll do that later. I'll give you a sneak peek of some of the projects I'm working on. I was saying to somebody the other day, I tend to work on several things at once because I get bored. And I get bored with doing one thing, so I want to jump to another. Okay, so this is something I started at least 10 years ago, maybe 12. And the original piece, this piece, you can see here, this embroidery, was table napkins, cloth napkins. And I don't even know how many there were. I want to say there were 8. And I cut them, and see, this is the inside. I've got it open. I've recently grunged it up a bit. The other ones are, I have 3 more. They're not as grungy and dirty as this, but I wanted to do this one this way. So let me see. Yeah, see, there's the embroidery. I've just flipped it. There's embroidery there, and then there's embroidery in this corner. 2 separate napkins with the doily. So this is the inside of the journal cover. This is the front. Has a little flower with bead, has some laces and a doily attached here, a bit of lace. This originally I was making what I had thrown together 10 years ago, before I really knew how to do any of this stuff, was I made 4 pieces like this, and they were going to be pages in this journal. And of course they all come out different sizes once you sandwich them together in here, and it just got overwhelming to me, so I just put it aside and pretty much forgot about it for about 10 years. So now what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to use each one as a cover. And so the back, I printed on muslin. I attached a piece of muslin to a piece of cardstock, I think just with a glue stick, and ran it through my printer and printed out all these things. So that will, like, this is not finished. I've got to put lace around it and different things. This was just the beginning. But there's a bunch of different pieces of lace. And what I'm also going to do, I've removed it. I have a piece of, like this. It's a piece of parchment that I had when I do tea dyeing and whatnot. I lay the papers on to dry. And so I have a piece cut to fit inside here with a piece of craft text. And craft text, for those of you who don't know, is, this is craft text. I don't know if you can see how thick that is. It's almost like a fabric, a paper fabric. It's very durable. You can wash this. I have some, let me see if I can grab it. I have some in a different color that these are scraps of this. This is the color it was, like a craft color. And you wash it and it gets, oops. You wash it and you get all these, what happened? Oh, you're still there. Okay, I just lost view. It wrinkles nicely, and then I inked it, so it ends up looking somewhat like leather. If you can see that. Anyways, this one is black. It was very popular, I want to say 6-7 years ago, and I worked for a I apologize for that. My dog heard something and started barking. Anyways, what I was saying is I used to work for a scrapbook designer, and she read about this somewhere, and I think a lot of it was due to her using it and talking about it on her channel website and everything. It got very popular. Anyways, I ended up buying a bolt of it in black, so I have a lot of this to use up. And if anybody out there is interested and want to try it out, I can probably give you some. So anyways, it's really thick. I'm going to use a layer of this, bigger piece than this obviously, inside here, just to give it some structure. And I'm also going to put the crinkly bit of parchment paper in there for the noise, the sound. And what the inside of these look like, again, bear with me, I just decided to do this video and I didn't prep very much, and my desk is an absolute mess, and I've moved things now, and so it's probably going to be an avalanche that will fall. So I just finished the, so there's 4 signatures that I made to go inside here. This is cardstock with a, what do you would call this? A vintage, homemade vintage stain. Uses glue, coffee, some vintage photo alcohol ink, and also homemade texture paste. So I believe I stained it first, folded it to size, ripped down the edges, used the vintage stain, let that dry, then did the texture paste with a stencil and restained it. On the back it's just got some, I used the same stencil and just some vintage photos to make the design. And then today I sewed in fabric pocket. Some of the other ones have the parchment paper again as pockets. I'm really starting to like that. And that I've seen on, her name is Jo, and I'm trying to remember her channel. Again, I'll link her below. I want to say Jo's Junk Journals, something to that effect, but I will link her channel. Anyway, she was making a very grungy journal, somewhat similar to this. This inspired me. I was watching her video, and it reminded me that I had this. So I went back to it, inspired by her grungy journal. So we have this one. We have this one. Can you see that? This one is a lighter color. I think it was a cream. This was craft. And then, oh, there's that fabric. And I cut another piece this morning because I couldn't find that one, of course. Okay, so this goes here. So it will have these 4 signatures, and it's another thing I've never done before. My typical journal is always quite neat and everything fits properly. So this is my first attempt at a grungy journal, and it's just gonna be, you know, no rules, do what you want. I'm thinking these bits that are hanging in, I'm gonna somehow make a tie closure for it. But yeah, the pages are all different ripped edges. And so that is going to go like this. I have to stitch the cover together with the craft text stabilizer, and then I'm going to add more laces and whatnot. What I was saying earlier is I had taken this apart. I think originally I had just cardstock in there, and it wasn't very firm. It was floppy. So I unstitched the edges, took it apart. I tea dyed it. I just sprinkled some tea on it to give it some more color. And then yesterday I put some vintage photo re-inker in some water and just kind of spritz that around. And it's got a lot of yellow in it. If you can see here, the yellow separating here, that's vintage photo. I can't see where I'm pointing on camera. This is all vintage photo, is what it started as. And then, trying to see here, some of the lighter color here, the sun's shining wrong way, is tea. So, let's see, maybe I can show you on this piece better. All the really dark colors that you're seeing is the vintage photo. And then you can see here, there's some color, and here, and here. This was just tea. So it's got a few different shades in there. And like I said, the vintage photo, the yellow separated for some reason. I'm not sure what, but it didn't look like that when I put it on there. So that's my grungy journal, and that's been ongoing, and it will be. I work on that a little bit, and then I work on my other journals, and I'll come back and forth. But as you can see with that, I've done some of the vintage stain and homemade texture paste on some of the pages. Hi again. I'm not sure what's happening, but my phone keeps shutting off. First time was the dog barking, second time the video just stopped on its own. Anyways, what I was saying is I've done a little bit on these, and I was just sewing the pockets in, so there's still a lot of embellishment to do. Well, there's one page in here that is actually made of the parchment. Again, just liking the color. So there's still quite a bit of work I've got to do on this, and the cover. So just wanted to let you see that. That's in the works. I'm going to say that's maybe 50% complete. Another project I'm working on, and I'm afraid to move things right now because I've got it all stacked up here, is again something probably a year ago. I found this book, which is Wind in the Willows. Yeah, The Wind in the Willows. I found it at a used bookstore about a year ago, and then recently seen on Catherine Brown's YouTube channel where she had made a Wind in the Willows journal. So I thought, you know, inspired me again, reminded me of something I had, and said, oh, got to do that. So I forgot to take pictures of, but I pulled it all apart. I was able to save the front map pages. And so this is I've still got to reinforce the spine, but I was able to save the front and the back on this. And I'm making 3 Wind in the Willows journals. This one with this cover, and then 2 others, if I can slide this out without creating an avalanche. With these covers, I got a set of 22 encyclopedias from somebody on Facebook Marketplace for free. So I've started taking them apart. So I just used the cover, and these ones I did reinforce with Tyvek. I've just covered. This is not the actual cover. The cover is gray. Yeah. So I've covered with craft paper, and then I'm going to cover the spines with something else. I was thinking of fabric. Anyway, so I've got 3 of those. 2 this style and 1 with the original book cover. And so for the one with the original, I'm using the title page and whatnot. I've got the signatures ready. I've got some embellishments made, but not put together yet. One thing I recently learned on Catherine's, or something Catherine does, Catherine Brown, is once she gets her text block set up like this and not yet embellished with anything, she puts it in a book press again and creates a lot more space inside the journal. I press my pages beforehand, before I fold them, like, you know, tea-dyed papers and whatnot, but not once I put it together. So I'm going to do it this time. I've got to actually make myself a book press. But I'm going to press these because they are somewhat puffy. They can probably be skinnier. And then I've got a whole bunch of embellishments to put in there. Pockets made of book pages, and there's a lot of this type of image that I've cut out from the other pages that I'll use throughout. One thing I was thinking about when I did this, because I have something, a picture that I'm going to do on the front. I'm not going to leave this because it's just not very clear. Maybe I'll somehow incorporate it. I haven't I haven't figured it all out yet. But for some reason, this is coming across to me as almost like a mail journal. Not something I'm going to put a bunch of lace in, or, you know, bright colors, flowers or something. I think I'm going to keep to greens and blues. But I'm almost finding it too plain. It's not, it's outside what I normally do. So I've got to think of some ways to incorporate more color and do something like that. And I was looking at today, I was wondering if I'm going to go through my fabric stash and see if there's, like I said, I was looking for, it just gives me a masculine vibe. So I was thinking of tweed or whatever. I even went downstairs and looked through my father-in-law's old clothes, thinking maybe I'm going to find a piece of tweed or something that I could use, you know, just to embellish this somehow. And most of my fabrics, I haven't checked yet, but most of my fabrics are florals and feminine fabrics. So then, and there's no reason this has to be a masculine journal. It's just feeling that way to me. So I can kind of maybe add some femininity to it, but I don't think I'm going to, like I said, cover it in lace like I usually do. Then I came across this today. This was an old dress I picked up at a thrift store, and I just liked it, and I liked the fabric. I actually wore it a couple times, but it was a very like Little House on the Prairie type dress. It wasn't very practical. I loved it. It looked great. Now it's roses, it's flowers. It is feminine. You can see here. It's quite sheer. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. No, the light is doing things. It's quite sheer. But I was thinking taking some of it, because it's got greens and stuff in it, that it might work on here. Maybe just to cover the front. I'm not sure. But I came across this and I thought, well, it might be usable in here for something. And you tell me if you think, you know, the Wind in the Willows, it's what, mole and rat, and it doesn't need to be a masculine journal, but that's just what it's feeling like to me. So that's where I've got those. So I've got those three, and the same thing. I've got to press the pages. This one I had these two front sheets from a different book. But again, it's a similar green. I think I'm going to be going with blue and green theme on all of these. This spine, the encyclopedia spines, are a bit bigger than the original book. So I can put a bit more in them. But that's those. So I have 3 of those. And what else can I show you here? Well, see, I'm getting embellishments. Once again, my video stopped. I'm going to have to just cut this short really quick. I don't know if there's a, I don't know why it's doing this. It's one of the illustrations, original illustrations out of the book by someone Shepherd was the illustration. Anyways, so I added that, and this is actually an old book page pocket. So that's what's going to go inside a lot of these. So that's my update. I have I have more journals on the go, but I don't have them here handy, and they're at various stages. So those are the main 2 things I'm working on: the Wind in the Willows and the grungy fabric journal. So hopefully I can update you once they get further ahead. So I want to thank you all for joining me, and hope to see you soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.